Okay, hello. Rich, can you hear me still?
Yeah, I hear you.
Excellent. All right, well, we are live.
Okay, well, hey everybody who's joined us so far. Can you hear us okay? Give us a shout out on the live chat if you can hear us. Oh yeah, my pic's just loaded up. Oh yeah, do you want to give me the Deelee, give me the live feed?
Yeah, you should be, oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, professional. We're off to a good start here, Rich. Yeah, let me, let's see. Alrighty. You should be able to see it now.
Oh yeah, got it. Lovely.
Yeah,
Thank you.
got it.
So one of the fun things, you guys, that we've been sort of playing with is the fact that there's a slight delay in live versus what we see on YouTube. So yeah, I got to kind of see it in real time straight from Deelee's screen just to not be talking over myself, and it gets very confusing. So welcome. This is vFlyteair's first live stream. This is a whole new territory for us, so we are pretty confident that anything that can go wrong will go wrong during it. This is just, you know, for us a bit of fun, just to sort of make a bit of a launch video for the Arrow. We want it to be the first of many, so we'll hopefully start to improve in our content as time goes on, and yeah, do a few more of these as things move on. Obviously, we want to do some videos showing some of the sort of skills and techniques and the features that you can use within the Arrow, and then we'll move on over time and perhaps do some in some of the other aircraft that the vFlyteair produce as well. So for this evening, we've planned a flight from Orlando Exec to Sarasota, which is over on the west coast of Florida, which is a lovely spot. And if you can ever go there, I'd highly recommend it. I'd love to visit there. So, as mentioned on the blurb for the stream, our pilot for tonight is Deelee. So Deelee is one of our product testers. He came on board to help us test the Arrow, and the reason for that is he's a part owner in a real Piper Arrow 2. He's also IFR certified, and well, I'll leave it to Deelee to say hi and introduce himself.
Yeah, thanks, Rich. Hi. Yes, all of that is true. Yeah, it's been several years now since I, got my private instrument. That actually working on my commercial now. Not sure if I'm do anything with it, but yeah, just kind of tying it back to the Arrow, to the vFlyteair Arrow. It's interesting, when I bought our Arrow, it's got an Aspen, it's got a GNS 430 in it, almost exactly. The panel is almost exactly the same as the vFlyteair Arrow. So I actually, or I knew Rich or anybody at vFlyteair, actually bought the Arrow next plane and used it to get proficient, and it's amazing how close my Arrow is to this one, especially in terms of avionics and the way it flies. Now, having said that, Rich, and you know this, I've got mine is a 69 Arrow, and the wing is very different.
I'll let you off.
Yeah, can you hear me still?
Yeah, I hear you fine. I was just saying, we'll let you off having an Arrow 2.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's older, but the wing is different. So yeah, and here come the excuses right away before we even pop into this thing and I fly it. My real Arrow flies a lot different than the Arrow 3. So the Arrow 1s and 2s, the Hershey bar wing Arrows don't respect ground effect at all. They pretty much fall right through it. There's no float in an Arrow. They say that it has a safe glide speed, meaning it glides like a safe. Anyway, full disclosure, all the excuses out now. I float 500 feet this plane. So anyway, so Rich, do you want to talk about the flight plan, or do you want to pop in to the Arrow? What do you want to do?
Yeah, well, I think obviously one of the things that's big with the new Arrow release we've done is we've worked quite heavily on the avionics. So any of you who've been following the progress of this will know that it's been quite a long development, but also part of the reason for that is, apart from the fact that all of us at vFlyteair have full-time jobs as well as trying to make aircraft on the side. One of the things that I think most of our customers respect at vFlyteair is that our emphasis is always on quality of the product. One of the things that we really wanted to do in V6, and there were a number of other things that we wanted to try and get in, and we just couldn't fit it all in and not get to the point where we were releasing. The main one we wanted to tackle this time was the avionics. We really liked the Arrow V5 with the Aspen. A lot of people, and we're very fortunate because we have a number of real-world pilots who are either on our testing team or who love our products, and we're really grateful for that, because that for us is one of the biggest accolades we can get. We appreciate that a lot of people realise that sim flying is not real flying, but I think on the other side of that, a lot of pilots realise that, as Deelee said, that there's a lot that can go good in terms of just staying current with procedures, particularly in lockdown. We spoke to various pilots who've really sort of picked up on X-Plane just to try and stay in the air and keep their head screwed on with instrument usage and so on, and just general flying handling, so that they were sort of a bit more ready for getting back in the cockpit. And I admit, the last time I was very privileged to go in an Arrow with one of our product testers last year. And he was saying that for him, the vFlyteair Arrow had been really fortunate for him to be able to keep current while their plane was grounded, initially obviously through COVID, and then following that, because they've been waiting a year so far for parts from Lycoming for their engine, so they've been really stuck. And yeah, So for us, we felt very much as we started the development of E6 that we wanted to upgrade the Aspen. Walker really wanted to do the G5 set as well. And once we'd done that, we really got talking about things like what did we want to do with the avionics bay. And you'll know from the previous Arrow V5 that it had the slightly older style, sort of late 60s, early 70s panel layout with the sort of split panel. And we very much wanted to rejig that a little bit and go with this sort of slightly later style, late 70s, early 80s, big flat panel. Because that allowed us to fit a bit more in the way of instruments in. We'd originally played around with getting the RPM and the manifold pressure gauge up on the next to the main 6, because really we wanted to do that so that it was easier for pilots flying not to have to look down. Because in the real plane, of course, you sat there right next to it, you glance down briefly, there's your manifold pressure and RPM gauges, great, yeah, they're set where I want them to be, and you look back up again. And of course, when you're flying, particularly if you're not a VR pilot, you're flying on a single screen, we wanted to get the manifold pressure and RPM gauges up on the front, which a lot of schools have done. I've flown in an Arrow that did this, and they moved the gauges up because it was just easier for the pilot to sort of scan across the main bank rather than having to look down to see what it was set at. So never being satisfied with that, Walker was then sort of disappeared into a hole as he does for a couple of months or a few weeks or whatever, and I'm kind of sending him updates on the beta testing and so on, and then suddenly pops up and goes, hey, do you like this, and sends me a new beta, and there in the panel is the Garmin Gi275 EIS, which is of course the engine instrumentation system. Now this is amazing because of course this is a lovely piece of glass. It's designed to very much just plumb into an existing panel. It's got all the cylinder head information on there, all sorts of great information. So then we were kind of like, actually, do you know, if we're going to do that, can we pop it out? Because that's really handy in VR. And then we were talking about it and saying, well, actually, can we go a stage further than that? Can we make it pop out, and can we do it as a 2D panel so that people who like to panel build and so on don't need to buy any add-on packages and can just drag and drop that onto another screen? So we did that. Then following on from that, we sort of went, well, actually, why don't we do the Aspen E1000 and the G5s as 2D pop-outs? So Walker went out and bought Sassel 2, which we wanted to develop in anyway. So they were completely remodeled, and then the next stage of that was actually to go through and redevelop the E1000 and to work on the G5s to get them as accurate as possible. Of course, as with all development things, with only about sort of 5 or 6 of us testing it, there's always something that gets missed. So we're very grateful, appreciative that once these things are out in the market, we sort of get hit up by all our customers saying, oh, it doesn't do this, and we've had a few of those, and we're really grateful for that. So we're starting to put together a list of things that we'll get into an upcoming update that will include, like it's been noted, for example, that while you can see the vertical speed on the G5 in the FMA section at the top, you don't have the bug on the vertical speed tape on the right hand side, which should be there. So little bits like that we're going to get in. But we actually decided to get to the point where you can pop out your primary flight displays, your main engine instrumentation with the Gi275 EIS, and of course you can pop out your Garmin 430s, or if you're fortunate enough to have them, then the Reality XP GTNs, of which you can put a 750 and 650, or a pair of 650s in, or a 650 and a 430. So again, trying to match as much as possible to the kind of different sets of instruments that people have out there. And then of course we decided we needed to up the autopilot. So we decided for the Aspen we'd go with the KFC, I think it's a Bendix King unit. That pops out as well, so that you can window out, put on a second screen if you want to, and it's touch driven, so that works if you've got a touch screen, which I do, and it's just great fun. And then obviously on the Garmin one, we went with the GFC 500 because that meant that you've got the envelope protection mode. You've got the level button works. You've got VNav. All of those nice toys are in there. That one pops out as well. So that's been really nice. So yeah, this was part of the redevelopment. What we also worked out on was having done those things would allow us to carry that same high quality set of instruments through to other products, such as the Saratoga that we're working on currently. And we just figured if we spend a lot of time getting those right now and getting things like how the pop outs work so that they show up correctly, the Arrow has sort of become our test bed to do that with. So it's been a long time coming, but yeah, here we are. So yeah, that's sort of really what's brought us to the point where the V6 is where it is now. So so Vincent, you got just asking about touching on VR. So on the VR side of it, yep, we've redesigned a lot of the instruments, and all of the pop outs. Obviously, you can pop out to windowed mode, so they can go onto a second screen, but they all pop out and can be moved around in VR as well. So Deelee is one of our sort of big VR users. He loves it.
Yeah.
So
actually, sorry, go ahead. I was going to say that's all I use. You know, I don't. I'm doing some things now on the screen, just kind of while Rich is talking, just to kind of get things prepped. You know, putting in just the basically our expected routing just on the tablet, like I would do in real life. But in reality, this is pretty much all I do in 2D anymore with these aircraft and vFlyteair Arrow. Yeah, I'm 100% VR. I've got a physical yoke, pedals, and a throttle. But everything else is just done through got a Quest 2, so I use the manipulators to, and you're going to see this when we actually get going here. I use the manipulators with the Quest 2 to handle all the knobology of even the twisting the knobs on the 430, pushing the buttons on the Aspen, things like that, setting the cold, stuff like that. It's all VR. So yeah, if you're asking how compatible this aircraft is in VR, it's 100%. It's if it was greater than 100%, that's what it would be. It's fully usable in VR. I did a flight last night, VR, Vatsim, just in the DC area, about an hour's worth of a flight, fully in VR. Just kind of actually to prep for this stream, just to make sure that remembered how to fly the Arrow. For me, it's actually a little while because my real Arrow is an annual right now. But anyway,
if anyone in them. So yeah, Vincent, just to answer your question, yeah, all of the pop outs pop out in VR. We were having to play that the other day. Unfortunate that Deelee can afford a VR headset. That's mean. To be honest, I'm more a fan of having a sort of a big screen for my front view, and then I've got a touch screen and I've got some physical dials and controls that I've built on to control it. So I do it with the pop outs. But yeah, we've had all of those out. The main menu can be popped out. You can actually assign a button in the controls menu to pop out the options menu if you want to as well, so you can control that. Obviously you can resize it. One thing somebody noticed the other day, excuse me, that somebody noticed the other day is that you when you pop it out on next load, it comes back the same size. So the button yeah, so anyway, so we're going to fix that. We're going to get it so that it comes back always the same size that you used it, that you previously loaded it at.
That would be great, by the way. I thought that was an excellent thing, because even the like the Airbus one that I fly, yeah, when you pop out the McDo, it goes right in your face. I always thought that was just an X-Plane thing. You guys can fix that. That's awesome.
Is, yeah, it's always a little bit weird doing stuff in VR because of where it's going to position and so on. So Vincent, for the main menu in VR, there's the tab on the side on the 2D screen. What I'd recommend for you for VR is just to assign a button in the config to make that pop out. That's probably the easiest way to do it. I have suggested that we put a hidden spot maybe on one of the fuel gauges or something to pop that out. If you want to drop that to me on the forum as a feature request, I'll pass that over to the devs and we'll look at doing that. So Cosmo Kid, hi, nice to have you with us. So the Aspen panel is grey. The G5 panel we went with the black. That was really just to show off that to make it very clear that one was different from the other. There's a full paint kit available on vFlyteair, so if you want to go to town and recolor the panel, you go for it. As always, we try to make sure those things are available both for the interior and the exterior. So we'll get those out there, and yeah, if you want to do a different color panel and pop in a link on the forum, we can add it to our list. But so as well as the interior having a pretty heavy makeover, the exterior's had a few tweaks here and there to try and make it a little bit more sort of refined as well. We've obviously got the PBR textures, or the reflections and stuff. So to make use of all the new toys in X-Plane 11, which of course we spent ages on, and now X-Plane 12's on its way. And fortunately, we found out that actually it flies pretty spot on in X-Plane 12 in the alpha, from what I hear from the devs as well. I haven't even touched X-Plane 12 yet. I'm not allowed.
Yeah, how do I get on that list, Rich? Come on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, get in line. Get in line. I want one of those too. So yeah. So this has really been very much a sort of two really core things we wanted to get right in this. One was the avionics, because we're going to be shoving those over onto the Saratoga. So Cosmic, interestingly, good timing on mentioning the Twin Comanche, because we will also very likely be transferring some of these toys over into the Twin on a later release as well. As always, these things are a little bit sort of long way down the timeline, so we will get to those in time. The Saratoga is the next big project. We're currently punching it out over whether we do a turbo or non-turbo, or maybe try and do both. So if you've got some feelings on which one you'd like, then let us know. I'm all for having a turbo version this time, as the Arrow's non-turbo. So we'll see where we go with that. But the idea is, once we've got this lovely strong base of high quality avionics, that we can transfer them very quickly and easily, having spent the time and energy on getting them right in the Arrow V6. So how are we looking, Deelee? I think you've done our departure time for half past. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I filed this at half past the hour at 18:30 Zulu. But no worries. I mean, there's supposed to be an event today on Vatsim, kind of a GA event that corresponds with almost the route that we're flying. So I figured we'd just
I love
pop
GA. How did I miss that? So anyway, so yeah, I mean, fine. Okay, well, let me know when you're ready, and we'll start pre-flight.
Whenever you're ready, I can. I mean, I can go over the flight plan. I can pop into VR and start this airplane up and get going. Whatever you want to do, you let me know.
Yeah, well, yeah, do you want to get yourself transferred to VR? I guess I can carry on talking over the top of that. So.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's real quick before I do that. Let's just take a look real quick at this, just the flight plan, just to let everybody kind of know where we're going.
Yeah, cool.
And then I'll pop in. Yeah, so like Rich said, just Orlando executive. This is a pretty quick flight. It's about an hour. We got a nice headwind today in real life, and in the sim we're going to use real weather. Hopefully that won't affect the amount of ORBX that we get to see, because it would be a shame to not see any of the ORBX scenery, because that stuff is so amazingly realistic. Maybe we'll turn off real weather if we can't see any of the scenery. But anyway, it's going to be Orlando exec, just down to Sarasota. Pretty quick flight. I think Orlando exec's at Class Delta, Sarasota's at Charlie. Got Vatsim. Rather, we have ATC through Vatsim. I think I don't have Vatastic open right now. I can't see who's actually online, but there's supposed to be an event, so we should get some coverage. Yeah, quick flight. Like I said, it's the Tolls 1 departure. Lakeland, just going to be our only waypoint, and then direct Sarasota. You can see here it's about an hour with a 15 knot headwind. The winds aloft are kind of stiff as you get higher up. I checked the real weather, and we'll stay low. We'll stay at about 4,000 feet. We'll stay at 4,000 feet actually. It's an IFR flight plan, so we're going to stay on our altitude to avoid some of the whipping winds that are up there right now. So, having said that, that's kind of the weather briefing. File this for about 10 minutes. Off block time. So I can pop
Just don't
in.
actually fire it like I actually accidentally did the other day.
Well, no, I don't. No, yeah, no, I don't
Yeah, well,
file.
I didn't mean to, and
Funny.
I was setting up a flight in vFlyte because obviously it's lovely to
Uh,
be able to have it on your lap on an iPad
sure.
and hook it up to the simulator. And I was planning, I did a flight through Austria,
Uh-huh.
and I accidentally and then my phone started ringing,
Yeah,
and of course I've got my mobile signed in, named on my vFlyte account,
that's
and it
funny.
was Austrian Control
Search and
calling to
rescue.
check my flight plan, and I was just like, do I answer that
No,
and just apologise
I filed it.
profusely?
I just filed it through SimBrief and Vatsim. No. Okay, so I'm gonna let you kind of take it over for a minute. It takes me a second to set things up. Just getting into VR. I'm at my desk right now. I
Don't
gotta
forget
pop
your
into my.
microphone. You
So,
told me to remind you.
I'm sorry.
Don't forget to change your microphone over. You
Yes.
told me to remind you.
Let me do that, and let me pop up the going to VR screen, and then it's all you.
Cool. So just while Deelee's getting himself set up in VR and taking his makeup off and so on. So a few things. I'll answer your questions in a sec. So a couple of other things that are worth knowing about the new panel. One of them is obviously we've tried. It's really difficult to get a good combination of features to satisfy everybody. You know, every plane's different. It's really hard to do that sometimes, and so what we have built in are a couple of little flip features to allow people to work with it. So Deelee, for example, his Arrow 2, the airspeed indicators in miles per hour. So he's got his set with the MPH with the knots on the inner ring on it. If you click on the airspeed indicator, you can switch from that mode to a knots only one, which I prefer because all the planes I've flown have always been in knots, obviously over in Europe, and it just happened that the ones I've flown have always had knots only on them, so I find that easier. Also, of course, all the new glass avionics will allow you to switch between inches of mercury and hectopascals. You can also do that on the old steam altimeter as well. So if you click on the Colesman scale, it will flick between inches of mercury and hectopascals, and it will remember all of those as well. So the next time you load up, it will keep that. So because I'm flying back and forth sometimes with Deelee over in the States, and then obviously I'm UK based, as the accent might have given it away. I like flying in the UK. It's where I've done the real world flying that I've had the chance to do in life. So you know, it's sort of familiar territory for me to fly over it. So I actually run two copies of the Arrow. I've got one that's got all the GTN and all the instruments set up for inches of mercury and US charts and everything, and then a UK one set up for the UK. That brings me to another good point that I must make sure I mention because I'll get in trouble otherwise. So obviously, one of the things that we've done is we've arranged to do this live stream in collaboration with ORBX. And part of the reason for that is because, you know, we recognise very much at vFlyteair that a good quality aircraft, both from the instruments point of view, but the other key thing that we wanted to get up in the Arrow V6 was the quality of the handling of the aircraft, to get it as close to real as possible. And another really key feature that's important for your flying is, of course, having really good scenery. Because particularly if you're learning VFR, you know, if you want to get used to flying VFR, scenery is really key to that. And we feel that's very much the case. You know, we're not going to get into developing scenery. Somebody else can take care of that. And actually, ORBX have done a wonderful job of that. And I love flying over places that I've flown for real in the UK with the ORBX True Earth range. And it was actually when we were talking about doing this flight, because obviously Deelee's over in the US, we wanted to do a flight in the US, and we thought, yeah, okay, let's do that. And ORBX have released True Earth Florida, so that seemed a really nice combination to do a flight in Florida, because the weather's generally pretty stable. Of course, it's been beautiful for weeks, and this is the first bit of cloud we've had in ages instead of full-on VFR conditions. But there you go, such is the joy of flying real-world weather. But you know, that's the beauty of giving you that sort of real feature. So yeah, really grateful to ORBX for very kindly sort of getting involved and collaborating with us on this vid and posting it on their feeds and on their socials and so on. And they've also very kindly offered a giveaway of one of their products as well. So I'll post the link up. So I've just run up a quick form in Google. It's very basic. Obviously, we're just going to collect we need your ORBX account name if you want to enter for the ORBX one. And obviously, we're giving away a copy of the Arrow V6, so if you don't already have one and you want to enter for that, go for that too. None of the details will keep past the end of the competition, so all of that will be wiped. It's not going to be kept for marketing or anything like that, and it won't be shared with anybody else. It'll purely be kept just for that usage. We'll collect those up over the course of the live stream, and once we've parked up and shut down over at Sarasota, then we'll announce some winners for that, and we'll get in contact with you in due course with that. So if you win the ORBX one, if you want the ORBX one, your details will email over to ORBX after the stream, and then obviously they'll just add that to your account. So make sure you do give us the right email address for your current ORBX account. If you don't have an ORBX account already, go set one up, and then give us the email address for that one. And then for the vFlyteair one, just give us an email address, and we'll arrange to get you a voucher code for a zero cost purchase on the V6 over. So
Hey,
yeah,
Rich,
that's.
Can you hear me?
Sure. Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Excellent. All right, now can you see the VR?
Yeah, we've got VR.
All right, cool. Yeah, sorry, it's I've got a lot.
This is the bit that I hate doing, is having to move all these windows around in VR. It's just, this is why I like 2D, but I'm down with the VR. If I could actually afford a headset, I'd probably feel completely different about it.
Yeah, it's game changing.
Yeah, and it is. I have had a go, and I mean, my landings immediately, because you've got binocular vision, you can eyeball the distance to the runway without even thinking about it, which you just can't do on a 2D screen. And, again, we've tried to recognise that VR is something a lot of people like to use, so we've tried to build out the features for that as well. So I'll just answer these two quick questions, Deelee, and then it's over to you, and you can start pressing some buttons, and we'll get on the way.
Sounds good.
So Vincent, are updates included when XP12 is released? I think yes, we've already agreed that we will do that for the Arrow because we've just done such a major rework on it. For everything else, we're going to have to take a bit of a decision on that because some things have changed in X-Plane 12 that will change the nature of the way some of our products work. So, as with all things, we feel very much, our customer base is very important to us. We also realise that the reason a lot of us sim is because we can't afford real planes like some of us, Deelee. And even then, those who have real planes are probably going skint anyway.
Don't get me wrong. There were a lot of sacrifices made. Trust me.
Yeah, I believe it. So we appreciate that buying these things is expensive, and having to rebuy them as a new version comes out is costly. Even for this one, we really wanted to go in at a very low price for upgrading all of you who've been good supporters and have already bought the Arrow in the past, rather than going. Although a huge amount of man hours have gone into it, we really wanted to reflect the how we value the loyalty of our existing customers and go in with a really discounted rate for the product. And we hope you feel that it's been good value if you've done that. If you've bought it new, likewise, I hope you feel that it's been good value for money with the amount of stuff we've plumbed into it. Certainly, the instruments are the really visible part of that. The hidden stuff like the flight model, one of the IFR guys that I've been flying with over in the UK. He was saying he took an IFR flight out around from where his Arrow's based out to somewhere else and back, and then the next day he did it on our Arrow, and he said it was just so delightful for it to be absolutely bang on. So those things are nice to hear. So where we can, we will try and transfer everything over to X-Plane 12 with as little cost, if there's a cost required, as possible. Everything takes man hours if it needs redeveloping, and we try and avoid it if we can, but if we have to charge, we'll have to, we'll try and keep it as reasonable as possible. Bill, yeah, thanks. We love the new autopilot setup too. It's really nice to have two quite different ones across the Aspen and the Garmin cockpits as well. That's been a bit of a departure for us too. But it makes it quite nice to have two quite different feeling cockpits just from those two big changes, and both of them work really nicely as well. We've put a lot of effort into getting them to control the aircraft with a good feel for how the real thing should work. We looked at what's certified, so the GFC 500's in with the G5s because that is the certified kit. We originally made a GFC 600 for the Arrow, and I was actually flying a beta of it with the GSC 600, thinking, wow, this is a really nice autopilot. And then I started looking into it and realised that the GSC 600 isn't actually certified for the real Arrow. So we were like, okay, well, we're not doing it then. So we ripped the GSC 600 out and we did the 500 instead, which then meant we had to shove a load of things on the panel around to make it fit. And then we decided we'd do the KSC 230 to go with the Aspen instead. So that's why we ended up with those autopilots. Right, Deelee.
Yeah.
You're looking at pressing some buttons around there. Do you want to?
Let's press some buttons. Let's do it. Yeah, just to tag on to what Rich said real quick though. Yeah, this when I was doing my instrument rating, actually flew a lot of the same procedures that I had to fly my check ride in this plane, and it was pretty bang on. So, yeah, should we start it up?
Let's do it.
Okay, so yeah, I'll just kind of go through the real procedure that I go through and talk through it. I'm not a pro streamer, so y'all are gonna have to forgive me as I fumble my way through the stream.
I wouldn't worry. I think everybody's probably worked out we're not pro streamers at this point. Once we've got 4 or 5 videos under our belt, I'm sure like our banner and actually getting out on our socials in time, and I mean, I think a couple of the sort of the popular YouTubers who look at X-Play and stuff have sort of beaten us to it, but for various reasons we couldn't arrange to do our stream until today. So there's always somebody who's going to get out there first. But this should be the first of many. We're going to have some fun sort of continuing to do some other vids where we'll focus on some of the avionics, or just go for a fun flight and just sort of talk about aviation and where simulation fits with that in general.
Do it. All right, so yeah, so just kind of running through the flow. I don't have a checklist in front of me. By the way, somebody asked if you could get the pop out in VR. The way I usually do it is I just go through the menu and, well, all right, right in your face.
Oh, yeah, it's in the menu. Of course it is.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, you can get it.
Do you know, I forget about the menu because I always just click the little tab on the side because I'm always in 2D, so I never really thought
and actually what I need to do, I didn't set the fuel. So pilot weight, hey, all right, we'll go with that, 174. A little heavy. I'm a little more.
Maybe not Big Macs.
There we go. Oh, that was closer to the way I had it before. I will go with that. That's bang on. That's my weight. Fuel. Let's go ahead and just give ourselves enough gas. There we go. I mean, we're not going to need that much for this flight, but we'll adjust that. That should be good to go. All right. Yeah, like Rich said, I've got my arrows in miles an hour, so I've just by clicking this, you can switch from knots to miles an hour. I'm leaving this in miles an hour just because my arrow is old, and they did things in miles an hour back when that thing was built. So
all it sounds faster.
Well, the real arrow that I have is actually faster than the later arrows because it's a shorter bodied arrow. This Arrow 3, they extended the fuselage, I think, in 72 or 3, 6 inches, and mine is a short-bodied arrow, and it will true out at 150 knots. This one will not do, but it'll be fine. So yeah, so just circuit breakers are in, beacon is on, and what we'll do, we'll just go battery on, and then the startup procedure is throttle crack. Sorry about the radio crackling. That's Vatsim. Throttle cracked about 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Do is sorry about it. It's a little jerky, isn't it? The scene of the I think once we get off the ground that'll change. Engine start is it's gonna be fuel pump on, and then we'll give it some fuel to sort of prime the engine. It's a fuel injected engine, so there's no manual primer. It'll be fuel pump on, mixture full rich for about a 3 count, idle cut off, fuel pump off, and then we'll crank it. Let's do it. Fuel pump's coming on. 1, 2, 3. Fuel pump on, off. Crank it.
Vincent, yes, circuit breakers are models. Yeah, so if you pull one in flight, you'll kill something. Yeah, so they all work.
So we already forgot the yell clear prop. So there's nobody around us, so no worries. Go ahead and turn our headset on. Our ANR Lightspeed Zulus are now plugged in, so fly it in here. Good, and oil pressure is good, so that's a good start. Avionics can come on. Now y'all can see. And then we got Vatsim. So what I'm going to do, let's turn that down for now. Our Avionics are on
we
now.
can hear Vatsim, interestingly.
Yeah. No, I got. We're on Vatsim now. I'm not sure if
It's not coming through.
JetBlue 5092, the Miami
I
Center
can't hear it. I
offline.
don't know whether everybody else can on the stream.
Terminated
I
frequency
can't hear it
change
through
approved.
Oh yeah, I can't hear it because it's through Discord. That's why.
Yeah, you're on a bit of a delay.
I
So
imagine it'll show up on the
that's-
stream.
I'm going to call up. I think it's going to be Orlando approach and see if we can get our flight plan. Let's do that. On.
So yeah, Vincent, we felt very much that with the evolution of headsets to now have ANR, that it was time to have, when you plug your headset in, that actually it properly drops the noise off. So for example, things like
Hey Rich, sorry to interrupt. I'm gonna get our clearance real quick. I don't know how you want to do this with two of us talking, but let me
you just tell me to shut up, because
there you go.
otherwise I'll just fill for time otherwise. So I'll shut up and you go get your clearance.
Hang on 1 second. So yeah, just to let y'all know, the way I do it in VR, I use Avatab and I just write down standard kind of craft clearance, route, altitude, frequency, and transponder. And usually what I do is I actually pull up Avatab in a bigger window to do this. So sorry about this.
Well, that's what you get for handwriting in VR.
Well, it's not the easiest thing, and my handwriting is terrible anyway. I use shorthand, so I already wrote down our planned, our filed route clearance. Tolls 1 tolls, Lakeland VOR, 4,000 feet. And they'll let us know if that's going to work for them or not, so we'll call them up. Orlando approach, good afternoon. Arrow 1202 Romeo is at Orlando Executive. Looking to get our IFR clearance to Sarasota, please.
Romeo, Orlando approach. Good afternoon, sir. Cleared to Kilo Sierra, Romeo, Quebec Airport. Tolls 1 departure, direct tolls, and as filed. Maintain 3,000, expect 4,000, 10 manifest departure. Departure with me, squawk 0735.
See if we got it. Okay, Arrow 1202 Romeo cleared Sarasota Airport via tolls 1, then direct tolls. As filed, climb maintain 3,000, expect 4 and 10. Departure's going to be with you, squawking 0735.
Arrow 02 Romeo, reback correct. Expect runway 25 for departure. The altimeter 26, correction, the altimeter 29er.
Alright, we'll expect 25 and 9er on the meter, Arrow 1202. Let you know we're ready for taxi. All right, cool, Rich. You can talk for a while. Let me go ahead and spin the knobs on the Garmin.
Yeah, so I think for me, I mean, I started my pilot's license some years back, and then wasn't able to finish it, mainly financial reasons, which I know affects a lot of other people, and just sort of been in simulation ever since. And that's been, I mean, years since I was a kid. Really, I've enjoyed flight simming. You know, probably didn't take it very seriously when I was younger, and then I think a couple of decades ago discovered Vatsim, and that sort of really revolutionised everything, because all of a sudden you sort of had that onus to actually fly properly, and that really got me starting to do that. And you know, was sort of a bit of a rejuvenation, having sort of been disappointed to have to give up flying for real. So for me, and I know it's the same for a lot of you as well, is that, you know, getting out and doing real world flying, particularly in the UK, is a very expensive business. and I know it is in a lot of other places around the world, and it's continuing to become quite prohibitive. So the option to have a really good quality simulation, for me is just a real joy. It's my main hobby. It was nice to go up in an Arrow last year, and we were doing some sound recording for the new Arrow, and felt completely at home. It was great to sit up front. I had a little bit of time at the controls, which was just great, and everything is exactly where you expect it to be and works how you expect it to be. So that was really fun. And obviously on the other side, then we've got guys like Deelee. We've got quite a few sort of real world either Arrow owners or regular flyers of it, who've really kindly given up their time to be involved on this project and give us a lot of input on the avionics. Where we've got some guys who are Aspen owners, some who are G5 owners, so they've come back with quite a lot of things. And then on top of that, mainly the flight model, so that we could really hone down, what kind of settings the power should be on at certain times. And obviously, each Arrow is different, each model is different depending on the weight it's got in it, and what kit it's got in it, what year it was made, and little subtleties, whether the engine's in good condition. So obviously there's always going to be some variations, but within reason we're pretty happy that flies pretty much as close as you can get what sort of 34 pound
1584, let's departure good evening radar contact, climb maintain 16000.
We've worked really hard to try and make sure that's the case. And again, then obviously following it with the avionics and some of the other bits and pieces, because those are the things that you're interfacing with, aren't they? You want to pull the throttle back, set a power setting and expect it to be all right, maybe not exactly the same as your own one or the one that you fly, but close enough. And if you don't have the opportunity to fly a real Arrow, then that you're going to get an experience which is going to make you feel like there's a real plane burning away under there, and that it handles and it has that nice sort of solid feel on the controls, and feels like the Arrow should. So you can get to experience something that obviously most of us never really get to do in real life. So that very much drives what we do at vFlyteair. Walker is a PPL holder himself. The Cherokee 140, which was sort of the big launch product for vFlyteair, was based on the Cherokee 140 that he'd flown. That's why it got a lot of love to start with. And again, we'll be looking at putting the Aspen possibly across into the Cherokee 140. I don't know what else we're putting, because obviously that one's a bit retro, and maybe that one will be a sort of upgrade product that we'll do, which I think with a lot of ours we're probably going to hold off until X-Plane 12 comes out now, because we don't really want to redevelop a lot of stuff for X-Plane 11 and then have to redo it and pass the cost on to you guys. So I think probably a lot of stuff is going to get held now until XP12.
Rich, let me go ahead and get my taxi clearance. I think we're ready to go. Well, actually, normally what we do a quick run up here, or normal. Maybe we don't go through the whole run up procedure, but yeah, pretty much ready to get taxi at this point. Just in terms of real procedures, we check to make sure everything's set. Got our airspeeds reading 0. That's good. Avionics programmed. Altimeters are set. Good here. Just kind of going across, doing a flow. We're still. Should probably have this back around 1,000 RPM. Avionics programmed. We got the weather, radios set, transponders set in out. Yeah, out mode now. In the I don't know, depending on the transponder I've got a standby that'll automatically altitude mode when you get over like 15 knots on your takeoff. We'll set that to altitude because Vatsim likes that. Autopilot, I don't. Okay, so I have a different autopilot in my Arrow. The way I do it, I don't have IIS mode. I wish I did. I climb out using vertical speed mode, so that's what I'm going to do. Most guys that have the cap or the G500 will use IIS mode. I'm not going to. Anyway, so got our initial altitude programmed in 3,000. Final is going to just be at 4. I think we're ready to get our taxi clearance at this point. So let me do that, and then maybe when we're on the taxi roll, Rich, if you want to take back over.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm just replying on text on the live chat at the moment, so you can carry on doing your thing without me waffling
All right,
away.
let's see. Now here's the thing with taxi clearances. I don't write them down, so I have to kind of look at this as they're talking so I can read it back. So, Orlando approach, Arrow 1202 Romeo. We are at, where are we here? I think Shelter, ready for taxi. Up on the north ramp, Sarasota. Or I'm sorry, at Orlando Exec.
Arrow 02 Romeo, runway 25, taxi via Echo Alpha Alpha 1.
5 via Echo, so you said, I heard Echo Alpha Alpha 1, is that right?
Affirmative for 02 Romeo.
All right, 25 via Echo Alpha Alpha 1, 5 Romeo. All right, let's go. So release the brakes. Notice we got our mixture kind of leaned out for ground ops because we don't want to foul the spark plugs, and we're rolling. So Echo, so that's straight ahead. Now this is where it gets a little fun in VR. Now it looks like we got some more Vatsim graphic out here. I don't know what is that? What kind of plane that is? Rich, you know what that is?
It's well. Remember my copy.
Oh, you're
Copy
lagging a little
screen
bit.
through Discord's like, no, it's not that. It's just that it's only 720p on the live version. So it's.
okay.
I don't know if you look over that way, I'll try and tell you. But yeah, probably better to look where you're going.
Behind us now. Sorry. Yeah, VR is kind of realistic though in terms of you kind of got to pay attention to looking around and trying to pick out the taxi markings. I don't fly out of this airport, so
approach, good afternoon.
all right, let's see. Echo. And it's going to be turn on to Alpha. Okay. And it's going to be kind of
What sort of speed do you normally taxi the Arrow at?
I like to keep it at 15 knots or lower on the.
So you've got that what, about 1100 RPM or so?
I keep it at about 1,000.
Yeah, this is the standard, isn't it?
515 Hotel, we back correct. Expect 25 for departure. The Orlando altimeter 29099.
Oh yeah, that's something else we've recently changed as well. Is we removed some of the screeches so that they don't happen quite so often when you're just turning around a corner and those sorts of things where it shouldn't really happen.
What I learned in private, my primary training was to taxi at a nice walking pace. Now, I think that's a little slow, but also, you know, as a person who has to pay for all the stuff that breaks, I like to keep a lot of weight and pressure off the nose wheel, so I don't taxi very fast, especially on a. Now this taxiway is nice and smooth. Get a lot of taxiways that are not so smooth, and you don't want to bounce that nose wheel around. So I tend to taxi kind of slow.
November 155, Orlando approach. Good afternoon.
Trying to keep the Vatsim audio, ATC audio kind of low. If it's too loud, let me know. I have to. We're on Vatsim. I've got to listen for it.
1141. My apologies. I didn't see you or Slave.
Kind of a balance. I don't want everybody's ears to blow out with it either. I'm also trying to. I know, Rich. You mentioned this. Trying to keep my head as kind of still as possible so that everybody watching this doesn't get too sick. But I do also have to kind of look around at stuff too, so it's kind of a balance.
Appreciated. Can only do what you can do.
Yeah. You know, and also, you know, so we got a crosswind, so I really should have the ailerons kind of into the wind here.
Well, considering what you did on Friday, I'd be expecting some pretty high quality, you know, flying going on here.
Oh boy, well, the bar has been set.
We'll
see.
Come on, tell everybody what you did.
I do. Oh, my camera. Yeah.
What did I do?
That seems like ages ago. No, just the commercial written. Yes, 99 out of 100 on the comm writtens. After lots of stuff.
Yeah, well done.
That's the written part. Writing stuff is one thing. Flying it is. We'll see.
Exams are how to take something fun that you really enjoy, like flying, and make it absolutely stressful.
Yeah, I studied pretty hard for 2 weeks. I kind of locked myself in the office, studied when I wasn't day job. We'll see. I don't know if I'm gonna do anything with the commercial or not, but fun thing to do. Retirement after my job. So let's see. Where are we here? Oh, did he say Alpha 1? No, it's all the way to the end. Whoops. ILS critical area we just passed.
Well, maybe a later live stream we can do will be, you know, we'll do a giveaway of free flight instruction from Deelee the CFI, you know.
Remember, not to be used for real-world flight simulation or real-world procedure.
Oh, I didn't mean on here. Yeah, I mean, you know, we'll travel over, come and visit, you know.
Yeah, there you go. Come on over.
That would be a pretty expensive giveaway.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I'm not really. I want to do instruction or. No, we'll see. You'd be one of the maybe the oldest person in history to get hired on at a region. We'll see. All right, here's Alpha 1. Oops.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe.
Now trims for the pre-takeoff, just basically making sure.
02 Romeo, fly runway heading, runway 25, clear for takeoff.
Hey, clear for takeoff 25, Arrow 1202 Romeo, thanks. All right, well, good. So, our lights, camera, action. Lights on. Camera, transponders already set. Action. Fuel pump on. Mixture goes full rich. Props are full. Forward, fine pitch. Now what we do, sorry about the stutters, in the real Arrow, basically gradually, smoothly apply full power, and then we'll rotate at 70 miles an hour. First making sure that we're lined up on the right runway. I see 25 on the numbers. I see 25 on the HSI. Magnetic compass is 25. Let's go flying. Apply full power. Go. Right down the runway. Gauges look good. Airspeed is alive. Try to maintain center line. There's 70 miles an hour. Gradual back pressure. There we go. Positive rate of climb. Here's coming up. Whoa. Here's coming up. Trim. Pitch for about 100 miles an hour here in the climb. Get a little bit of stutters there. High runway heading. All right, we're up. There's some ORBX scenery right there for you.
I have to say the Florida one is one of my favourites. It's really pretty.
It's nice.
Particularly once you get around to the coast, the sea starts going a lovely turquoise colour. But I mean, the detail on the buildings. I mean, it's a long time since I've been to Orlando, but you know, you sort of see the skyline come up as you come up out of exec, and yeah, it's pretty neat.
25 Romeo is at 1,000 feet.
Direct tolls, climb and maintain 4,000.
Direct tolls up to 4, Arrow 1202 Romeo, thank you. Alright, direct. Oops. Direct. Enter. This is usually the way it goes too. So now we can go ahead and have autopilot on. Have vertical speed mode.
Land approach, good afternoon, 20 flight 1278 to shoot, flight level 100.
One thing we do also do is kind of bring the prop back to about 2,500 right after departure so we don't irritate the neighbors. We'll pull that back, leave the manifold pressure in, establish a good rate of climb, about 120 miles an hour. We're going direct tolls. Direct tolls. That. He also cleared us up to 4,000. So, whoops.
Runway 35 right approach.
Right, 4,000.
A little high. Turn right heading 090 vectors for your descent.
All right. And also, Rich, just real quick while we're in the climb here, the pop outs. I can pop out the. Whoops. No. Darn it.
Yeah, so I'd say it might actually be easier to control if you pop out the.
Well,
get the thing a bit bigger and stab
hit
it at
the-
it with the.
actually, don't
That's
mind
what-
it. Here, there we go.
That's why I've got a nice big touch screen.
There we go. You can pop these out, put them wherever you want. I hit altitude hold on the mouse. So. Follow this here.
Very professional.
Actually, I like to use altitude knob on, or the knob on the app.
And this is why it's for fun, and we always say this is not to be used for real-world instruction or.
There we go. Better rate of climb than that. climb that about 120 miles an hour. It's a good cruise climb in the Arrow. And that's it. Correct tolls, going up to 4. Look at that scenery. Probably doesn't come across in VR, or maybe it comes across really nicely in this VR headset. I don't know how it looks on the stream. It probably isn't as nice. It is incredibly realistic sitting here in VR, watching this scenery. I mean, this is like you're there. It's incredible, actually. This is like being in an Arrow flying over Central Florida.
Which I'm fortunate I've had the privilege of doing. I did about 8 hours out there from Kissimmee years ago, about 1996, in a Piper Tomahawk, which was great fun. So we went out on holiday there, and yeah, it was nice way my parents to do some stuff together. I think I was only about 18 at the time when we went, so I wasn't really sort of into Disney and so on. And so I did a load of flying with V1 Aviation out of Kissimmee, and did some fun stuff there. Did my first crosswind landing there and things, so yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, I have to say the scenery takes me back there every time. It's great.
See if I can keep my head still enough to look at some of this. There you go.
I can picture you like holding your head over the side with your hands just to try and keep it still.
I actually have my hands on top of my head right now trying to keep it steady. It's a little shaky too because the stream, I've got a lot going on with my machine right now. I've got the stream running, X-Plane, ORBX, active sky, clouds, and this is real weather, by the way, active sky. But my machine is getting axed. So if we complete this flight without this sim crashing or without me dropping below 20 FPS and dropping Vatsim, it'll be a miracle. All right, there's 4,000.
We've got a contingency for that, by the way, guys. So if the sim does drop, then we'll I'll talk for a while. We'll get Deelee will reload, and we'll do a couple of circuits from somewhere instead, just to get back up in the air. Unless it gets close to Sarasota, and if it does, then we'll probably call it.
So what we do, just real quick, cruise checklist. So we're in the cruise now. Just bring the manifold back to 24 inches, square it up, 24 inches manifold pressure, 2,400 RPM, and we'll go ahead and lean. I already leaned in the climb, again, because as a person who has to maintain Arrow, I like to lean as much as possible, avoid fouling the plugs, so I lean in the climb, and I'm going to lean further here in the cruise, even though it's only 4,000, bring it back to about, I bring it back to about 10 gallons per hour. At 4,000, that's about right. We've got lots of fuel. So, we're in the cruise now, so we're burning off the left tank. Should have started, in reality, I would have started a timer. After about 30 minutes of burning off the left tank, I'll switch it over to the right. Here, I think once we get down to about 15 gallons, I'll go ahead and switch tanks. But yeah, Rich, we're good. We're in the cruise now.
Okay.
That's it.
Cool.
Now we just sit back and enjoy the flight.
That's beautiful. I mean, what a lovely. That's actually turned out right, hasn't it? The clouds have broken a bit, so yeah, nice. It's not too bad. It's better than it was saying it was going to be about an hour ago when we were checking the weather. So yeah, that's not too bad. So just while we're hitting the cruise, let me just answer some of these questions we've got in the chat. So Vincent, you're asking about power on/off stalls. Were you talking about, does our aircraft do them realistically, or did you want Deelee to do some today? Reply back in the comments, and I'll answer on that. Douglas Reese, yeah, thanks. We take that really seriously, getting the dynamics right. In fact, it was one of the things that attracted me to vFlyteair in the first place, because when I started using X-Plane, I tried a few different. There weren't any great Pipers out. And actually, that was how I ended up getting in contact with Walker at vFlyteair, because he had the Cherokee 140, and I said, well, I've got some time in PA28, so I'd be really interested to give some feedback on that. And that was kind of how the relationship started. But yeah, I think we've always prided ourselves very highly on the reality of the avionics kit, so that it controls right, and then also the flight dynamics so that it feels right, and you can hopefully step from from the real one into this and back. Nothing's going to be perfect in a home simulator, but we want to try and get it as close as possible for all those reasons we've talked about. And I've tried some other PA-28s and other planes that are out there, and just didn't quite feel that they had the feel. But I mean, obviously I'm biased, but I try to stay very sort of independent in thinking about whether we've hit the mark with this, and be quite vocal if I feel we haven't. With the devs, and say, this is the thing that we feel is the mark for us for vFlyteair, is that people associate it with a really solid flight model. So yeah, thanks. Glad to know you feel that way.
I can chime in a little bit on that too. I mean, I actually own the other PA-28R, and I'm not going to say anything bad about it at all. To be honest, it's not bad, but for me, in terms of avionics and the systems, the vFlyteair is just so exact. I should have done, Rich, is taken some screenshots of the panel that I've got and kind of compared it. Now again, mine's a lot older. This panel is much cleaner and much better put together, but the Aspen.
Well, we wanted a dream plane for everybody as well, because any plane, I mean, the Arrow I went in was probably beat up as well. So
the point is, and actually, one thing I didn't do, prop needs to be back at about 2,400, not 25. This Arrow, the vFlyteair Arrow, it really is incredibly close to reality. And Rich, you said popping between sim and real airplane. Yeah, it's really uncanny when I pop in VR and just do a flight and do the same flight in reality. It's real close.
Well, I must admit, for me, I mean, I'd never been in an Arrow until last year. I've got time in Archers and Warriors, and when I got this opportunity to go with one of our other product testers who'd come on board for the Arrow project, and again, because he's a big Arrow user, he'd really valued being able to use our Arrow for his IFR, sort of, getting used to the procedures for his IFR training. Obviously, there's no substitute for the real thing. And I sort of was chatting with him, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'll come down, I'll bring the Arrow down. You come and have a go." And I was like, it was like a kid in a toy store waiting to go in. That was amazing. But actually, to sit in the plane and get to sit up front, and sort of, have a chance to fly it for a bit, it just felt completely at home. I mean, obviously the thing's bumping around a little bit in a bit of summer weather and so on, but other than that, it was just. Yeah, felt right in the same plane that I've been flying pretty much non-stop for the last year or more, flying all sorts of betas as they come out, and testing ground handling, and sort of approach speeds, and in different configurations and all those sorts of things, so that you guys can have a good product. So at some point I'll really look forward to flying another plane, but to be honest, the Arrow has become my go-to. It's my favourite. It's like people say about the real Piper Arrow, it doesn't necessarily do any one thing amazingly, but it does all the things it does do okay. It's not as fast as a Mooney, but it's got a bit of a better load. It just does all of the things, and it's very friendly to fly. It's a familiar step up if you've flown an Archer or a Warrior or a Cadet, so you can get straight up into the Arrow and do sort of continuation training for the complex, or whatever you're doing there. So that's been it's been nice to see as well. So Vincent, very quickly, and I'll pass back to Deelee. We'll ask him some other stuff. Yes, you can put the Reality XP 650s in there. We had a long discussion again about the Avionics bay in preparation for doing the V6, and one of them was very much, we wanted to offer as much variety as possible. The Reality XP 650s and 750s are just awesome. So after a lot of redesigning of the panel to fit everything in, and really agonising over what we'd put over on the right hand side of the main Avionics bay, because we didn't want to make people have to look around or reach over too far, we went with the options. You can have the dual 430s, you can have a 650 in bay 1 and a 430 in bay 2, so GPS 1 and 2. You can have two 650s as GPS 1 and 2, or you can have a 750 as GPS 1. And then obviously that replaces the audio panel as well, because all the audio features are built into the 750. You can have a 650 as GPS 2, and then the autopilot unit will shove over into that second bay, and we get rid of some of the other bits and bobs that are in there to make room for it. So yeah, we've tried to go as versatile, because we appreciate there's quite a few people out there who've got, the 650 is an expensive unit, the 750 is ridiculously expensive unit. So we appreciate there's a lot of people out there who've got maybe one 650 and then their old 430 as GPS 2. So you could do that. You could have two 650s, 750 and 650, a 750 and a 430, whatever combination hopefully gets close to what you really have.
Yeah, and I have the 750. I think I bought the 750, and it's pretty cool. But yeah, for this plane, I don't know, something about the GNS at 430. I don't like it. Yeah. So what I'm doing now, I'm just trying to get the ATIS at, I think Tampa is pretty close to Sarasota, if I'm not mistaken. So this is showing 290, good 12 gusting 18. Excellent. So they're probably going to give us 3-2. So I'm just kind of getting ahead of the airplane here, and I'm going to select the ILS-32 here. And Rich, I don't know if you have access to the actual METAR at Sarasota. My phone, unfortunately, usually what I do is I have ForeFlight open on my phone, and I'll just kind of take a peek. My phone, I left it on my desk, which is like 10 feet away, and I don't want to mess up the stream. So,
well, this is.
Actually, what I can do, hang on one sec. You know
this
what?
is why I love flying in 2D, because I've got ForeFlight on my lap.
Hold on. You know what? Hold on. There we go.
Kilo Sierra Romeo Quebec Airport information. Lima 2000 Zulu weather wind 316 at 12 gusting to 20 visibility 10 sky condition few clouds at 1300 ceiling 1300 broken ceiling 6500 overcast temperature 19 dew point 15 altimeter 3002 advise on initial contact you have information Lima
Tampa on 3425, Arrow 1202 Romeo. Good night. Hang on a second here. Tampa. Oops. What did it say? 13425. Hang on one second. Tampa approach, good afternoon. Arrow 1202 Romeo, level 4000.
Good afternoon, sir. You are not in my airspace. Unicorn 1
Okay, I thought I got a handoff over here. Thanks.
November 102 Romeo. Good afternoon, sir. You are not in my airspace.
You're on the mess off for Sarasota.
342. Oh boy, you know what? I screwed that up. Bear with me.
Just to prove that something else we can simulate is the pressure of flying even on Vatsim compared to the real world.
I screwed that up. I should have taken better note of the frequency.
What do you need?
Oh, nothing.
Frontier Flight 1278, turn right heading 180.
I can have a look on the...
I'll fall on my sword here and beg for forgiveness. Happens in real life too. Orlando approach, this is Arrow 1202 Romeo. I'm sorry, could you please give me that frequency and for Tampa?
1202 Romeo, not problem. Tampa approach on 34.25.
3425 for Arrow 1202 Romeo. Thanks and sorry. See, 3425.
Interesting, I've got that as Tampa departure.
Yeah, no, you know what? Okay, I was on the right frequency, guys. I'm not crazy.
Because there is Tampa East approach is up.
Yeah. 13425. I was right. Tampa approach. Good afternoon. This is Arrow 1202 Romeo. I did just get a handoff from Orlando approach 3425. Hello.
November 120 Romeo, good afternoon, sir. Unfortunately, you are on the wrong frequency, Captain. You are not in my space. I would be happy to cover Orlando, but unfortunately, I am now covering North America, and my frequency is 134.25. So you are not in my space. You you can switch to Unicom 122.8 and have a great one.
All right, I'll get this sorted. Thanks. You know what? This may be an X-Pilot issue. 3, 4. Oh, 1 second. This happened last night.
Are you on the new X Pilot?
I am.
Yeah, I had a funny with that last night as well.
And sorry, just to confirm, this is Tampa approach, correct? 002 Romeo.
Negative, it's South America Control. South America Control.
Oh, wow. Okay, thanks. They've got the wrong frequency. Let me get back with Orlando. Appreciate it, and thanks and sorry.
Yeah, the one you want is 11815.
I'm going to
That's
call
East
this
Pro.
guy. I'll just call, yeah, Tampa. Tampa approach. Good afternoon. This is Arrow 1202 Romeo, level 4,000 feet. I got to hand off to a different frequency, but I think I'm supposed to be with you.
What frequency did you get?
I was given 3425, but apparently that's somebody in South America.
It's a little bit of a confusion. If you're getting radio overlap, then we'll fix that. But 3425 is the right frequency. It's just a different Tampa approach frequency. Try 3425, and we might switch that to a different frequency at some point.
Yeah, he gave me over to Unicom. He said it wasn't in his airspace, so I don't know what to do.
Give me a second. I'll keep you with me for now, but we'll switch over in a second.
Yeah, Tampa
I appreciate that, and
Arch.
thanks. Yeah. All right, we'll stay with him for a minute, and let's just fly the airplane.
Anyone having contact Tampa Tower?
Sorry, it's really annoying. I can't hear you.
Tampa Tower, 17,
You're right to see. So there is 134.25 is doing Tampa departure.
Yep, it's just a little
That's
bit
weird.
of it's frequency confusion here. I'm just gonna pull up the plate for the ILS 32 here. Actually, I'm gonna pull it up bigger. Oh, 7. Get ahead of things a little bit. The 109.7, 319 is the
1202 Romeo, try Tampa 118.8.
118.8 for 1202 Romeo, thank you. 8. Alright, we're in some IMC.
1150, turn right heading 350.
There's nobody online with 118.
Right 350 down to 3000, spare wings 1150.
Certainly not a Tampa.
Alright, figure it out. Fly the airplane first, right? Aviate, navigate, communicate. 118.8. Tampa approach, good afternoon. Arrow 1202, Romeo's level 4,000 feet. Oh yeah, here, 118.8.
I can't even see that.
Tampa approach. Hello, Arrow 85 Romeo is level 4,000. Okay. Yeah, this is
I don't see a 1188 on the live frequency list.
due. Tampa departure.
Oh.
Raising. I think this might be an X-Pilot. You?
Well, if we have to, we can always hop off Vatsim and
Yeah. Now let's change tanks while we're out of here. Fuel pump on. Verify fuel flow. Switch tanks. Verify fuel flow.
1202 Romeo, my frequency.
This 1202 Romeo here. Yeah, I was trying to get you earlier. Sorry, I'm level 4,000.
Yeah, 1202 Romeo is having issues with the frequency here. Apparently conflicted with like South America control. Anyway, Lakeland Altimeter 3002 on board.
All right, altimeter's 300, and thanks. Yeah, got some kind of South American frequency there. Appreciate the help. Hotel 02 Romeo, you know where they're landing at Sarasota? Is that going to be what, ILS 32?
Yeah, 02 Romeo, expect the ILS or RF 32, your choice.
Yeah, we'll expect then to take the ILS 32 into Sarasota. Appreciate it. 1202 Romeo. Cool. That's how we do that. Now we're in some solid IMC. Nice, hard IMC. By the way, Rich, this is what the Arrow is really good at, in my opinion. This avionics package is flying single pilot IFR. It just can't fly single pilot IFR without this kind of avionics, in my opinion. You know, people used to do it. No thanks. Not for me. Good.
Yeah, I've never really done any real
good
work
navigator,
IFR stuff.
good, FIS, a good autopilot. This is the way to fly, hard IFR single pilot. I mean, right now, I wouldn't be whipping my head around like I am right now and get all disoriented. But yeah, this is actually pretty realistic. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of reference to the ground down there, but otherwise, we're in the clouds. Sorry, ORBX. Yeah, you can sort of see the ORBX scenery down there through the tiny window, but yeah, no, this is pretty good. So let's load the, we'll load but not activate the approach while we're at it. Get ahead of the airplane, load it, and look at, all right, so we're at 3 to Lakeland, and then after that we'll start watching POD. Cool. So we got our, let's see, it's going to be 109.7, 9.7, of course it's going to be 319. Now what I do is I will make sure that my heading bug is synced. Not a great time to do this, but anyway, we'll go heading mode, and we'll go here, and then we'll go 319 as well. So we'll set all this up well in advance.
Yeah, if you just tell me when you're free for carry on chatting, I'll stay hush until you're ready.
Nah, go ahead. I think we're good. Oh, look, we broke out of IMC. There's ORBX. Very nice. And this is kind of the feeling you get too, by the way, when you've been in IMC for 5, 10 minutes, an hour, and then you break out. It's like, okay, made it. I can look around now. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Rich. I think we're set. Basically the thing to do is, even in simulated GA aircraft, is to stay as ahead of the airplane as possible. So, it's 5 A's. ATIS, which we have, Avionics. ATIS altimeter, sorry, which we have, Avionics. Third, approach briefing, which we'll do in a minute, and then approach checks. Those are the 5 A's of flying IFR on approach. Anyway, all right, go for it. Take it away.
Yeah, I was going to say, of course, one of the big things that can be a bit dangerous with some of the glass kit is actually starting to sort of, play the instrument panel like a computer rather than actually really focusing on the flying. And like you said, that the important thing of staying ahead of the aircraft is such a key skill to learn. That actually, and I hear this. I've done sort of controlling on Vatsim, and quite often, you hear somebody say, "Oh, I've gone the wrong direction. My autopilot did something funny." And of course, that would never happen in the real world, because actually you just turn the autopilot off and you'd hand fly the aircraft. And every pilot out there is trained to be able to cope with doing that. Obviously, the automation is nice, but you never get into that position. And it's a really good skill, and I'm sure you'd agree as well. That it's a little bit backwards sometimes that a lot of people who come into simulation sort of get straight into the big airliners. They get used to getting the autopilot on. They get used to programming the flight computer to do stuff. But not necessarily learning how to fly the plane, and for me, I find that's quite a shame, because actually learning to hand fly the plane is where the real joy comes, and it's why I love VFR flying. It's why I'm really enjoying trying to sort of self-teach my sort of hand-flown IFR at the moment, and it's a lot of pressure. But as you said, you've really got to stay ahead of the aircraft and be really be confident that you're able to handle the aircraft to be able to do those things. And I suspect from the sort of real world side, you'd agree with that.
I would agree 1,000% and more. It is actually very dangerous to become reliant on automation. You know, you've seen examples of this recently, I think, with where was it? Oh, recently, I think Qatar, maybe Emirates, had some issues with pilots relying on automation too much. I forget what it was, but there were some issues on an Airbus, you know, recently, and then you've seen some horrible accidents where pilots rely on automation too much and can't hand fly. And in GA, you know, stuff does happen. I had a kind of a scary experience in IMC about a year ago, where our autopilot, we're actually just doing practice approaches, but in IMC, and the autopilot took us into a hole at a pretty good bank angle, at a bank angle higher than, you know, standard rate, and got me a little disoriented. And then I was getting some confusing instructions from ATC, and the person I was flying with and I were kind of trying to do different things. All the while, the automation was flying the plane, and this is just in the Arrow. You know, I had a crew track, autopilot, and the Aspen and the Garmin working together, and they were actually doing what they were supposed to be doing. But long story short, the feeling was just wrong. You know, it put us into a steeper bank than normal. It was still very safe, but you know, if I had been hand flying the plane, I would have been able to control the bank myself. And we ended up actually doing what you said, just disengaging the automation. You know, hand flying the hold, we actually dropped pretty low, not to MSA, but, you know, communicating with ATC what was going on. We didn't get a deviation. Thank goodness, I never got a phone number. You know, but it was a little bit hairy. We actually ended up. It's not for me. Anyway, just completely agreeing with what you're saying. Don't rely on the automation, even when you're in like the Airbus or the Go or something like that. You got to be able to handle that.
And actually, the same is very true of flying in the simulator as well, because although obviously the danger's not there, you can still be quite easily overloaded by the amount of stuff going on. And it's very easy to sort of start micromanaging, oh, I need to turn that dial or something, and stop looking at something else. And in a way, because you've got no physical feedback from the plane starting to bank, you can very easily sort of, when you finally look back up, realise that actually the plane's started to roll a little bit because there's a fuel imbalance or something you took your mind off. That and actually having to keep your attention to everything is still sort of just as important to get right.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, because there is no seat of the pants feel. I mean, unless you have some kind of 6th degree of emotion simulator. I don't know anybody that actually has that. Yeah, you can't feel it. There's no seat of the pants. That's true for VFR flying too. I mean, it's really cool in the simulator, and you know, the Arrow. You know, this Arrow that we're in right now does an awesome job of replicating controls and the flight model, and even in VR. I mean, I can look and, you know, judge my base to final turn by just looking, turning my head, but there's no seat of the pants feel. So, yeah, don't rely on.
And I have to say, that is one thing where VR comes in really nice, that you can just completely, unconscious thought just look out over the side, and particularly in the circuit, it's so nice to be able to judge, to get your aiming points and work out where you are.
Yeah, it's great. Better than Track IR, in my opinion. Track IR is cool. I used to have a 3-monitor setup with Track IR, and that was pretty good. But you know, once you get into VR, it's just. I'm trying not to turn my head so much right now because I know we're streaming. But I mean, all I want to do is look around.
Yeah, well, it is beautiful as well. I mean, that is at the end of the day part of the joys of flying, and particularly in VFR conditions, is to be able to sightsee. You know, when you're on a cross-country cruise, and that again is where really good scenery comes in, because it does just add that little bit of joy that you're not just simulating operating a plane, but actually you can just maybe.
11:26 after departure, radar contact.
Shared or wherever it is simulator set up, just be able to
on course
to sort of look
and
around.
permit up to for altitudes.
So Kev, yeah, it's a big problem. Yeah, it's really difficult And again, I've had the privilege of dealing with this, that actually when you're learning, when you're training for your PPL, the instructor's teaching you just to do those basics at 45-degree angles before turning. And it does, it is harder on the simulator because you're either going to turn by using a mouse or presetting a view, and certainly VR or something like a head tracker does make it easier because you're not having to press around to do it. But the head tracker can be a bit disorienting as well. VR is a little bit more natural, but of course it's not for everybody as well. So there's no real ideal solution, and it is one of those things, unfortunately, that just is better. Better in real life, but keep practicing. I've done all of my circuits in a low wing. I've never been in a high. Well, no, I tell a lie. I've been in one high wing, which was a C42, which was ironic because of course we then released one, a vFlyteair, which was quite fun, and flies pretty close to the real thing. But the low wing can be a problem. But actually, what you should find is you should be able to the 45 turning angle should be back behind the wing. So it should be 45 degrees behind the wing that you're looking when you're making your turn downwind, for example, from crosswind. So it should still be able to see it there, yeah.
I'm looking at it, Rich. You don't see it because you're lagged, but I'm looking at it now, like where you're supposed to. When you're judging ATC, when you're looking at that kind of 45 degree, turning base point, it's kind of behind the wing.
Yeah, so you should always be either side of the wing, because the ones you don't really need. The only time that's going to be a problem is if you're downwind, but...
Okay, we're looking negative contact, but we'll keep looking for it. Those are two, and thanks. Mooney, alright, let's take a look.
We're going to have to come up with a secret code so you can get me to shut up when ATC calls, or we're going to have to work out how I can listen in next time. I'm just going to have to...
tell you what,
I'm going to have to sign into Vatsim somehow.
I'll talk over you. Start talking.
Yeah, that's fine too. That's what everybody else does in my life. So.
But in reality, it's funny because flying with my wife or my kid, they'll talk and that's fine because we have conversations. But when it comes time to, actually having to talk to ATC, well, you can't see it because we're in VR and you're somewhere else. I'll put my hand up and just, say, hey. We have a signal that we give, and if they don't listen, I just start talking over them. And my daughter gets irritated. I talk to this guy,
exactly. It's easy enough to sort of put your hand up when you're in the plane next to somebody, or give them a poke or something.
Exactly. Looking for this Mooney actually wasn't really paying attention, unfortunately. What he said. Normally we would be looking. I think he said opposite direction, 3000.
Do it'd been a little while since I'd last been up in a plane, and I always thought pixelated sky makes it quite hard, it is low res effectively to spot another plane in the air. And then the last time I went up flying, I was looking out for a plane that we've been advised to look out for, and it actually was no better or worse. It was equally hard to spot.
It's so hard, and it gives me such respect for the pilots that flew in, World War II, let's say, when you're looking out for just enemy fighters. Like, how did they spot those fighters? It's amazing. I don't know. They must have closed to a range of 3 miles before anybody could see each other. It just, I always think about that.
A day like this with the middle OVs or whatever as well.
Coming out of the clouds, it's just, it gave me so much. It always does, actually, when ATC will call out a target, and I'm like, okay, well, 1 mile, opposite direction, 1,000 above, and I can't see them.
Well, in fairness, just to upsell the Reality XP GTN, of course, is that it does at least show traffic on it. So I find
that's true. Yeah, there's no ADSB. In reality, you can get traffic on the GNS 430. I don't have it. I have traffic on 4Flight via the.
Yeah, the 4Flight.
Hang on.
So you get that.
Sorry, hold on. I just missed the call. I'm sorry. Say again for 1202 Romeo.
Flighting 200 to 35.
200 1202 Romeo. And we're getting close here, I think, to our destination. So probably start in Bro. Not yet. Yeah, sorry, Rich. Missed the call. That was a heading change call too. So okay, now, oh yeah, so we're
Have to work out a system for next time.
we're getting kind of close. We're getting close to the approach here. Actually, wow, the stream has gone fast. All right, so I'm gonna pull up a bigger version of Avatar, so I can get a little better.
We're at 1126, our service terminated squawk and maintain the VFR contact Lakeland Tower 124.5.
I do have my my iPad mounted on the
Sorry, I had
on
someone
the
in my
yoke,
ear.
but it's just
Can you repeat that again?
it's a little easier to read than in VR than this one is. This is great, by the way. No dig on the vFlyteair representation.
Okay.
I can't see it as well as I can.
And we will contact the Lakeland Tower on 124.5.
To the approach, 109.7, 109.7, and we're in VFLY mode now. Suicide switch, as we call it, has been hit. 319 is the course. 319 on the course. Missed approach altitude. This is depth chart. Yeah, nice. I don't have that kind of money. 227 feet is set to 30.
Who does?
I don't. Missed approach climb, 1,000 feet, then climbing right turn to 3,000 feet on a heading of 065 outbound Sarasota VOR on the 030 radial to the Airs intersection. Cool. Alright, looks like we're going to be at Ringy. Ringy is the FAF at 1,800 feet. A little bit of IMC here. Excellent. Maybe we'll count this. This may be a loggable approach.
135 Golf Delta to the Lakeland altimeter 3002.
Cool. Alright, approach briefing complete. Approach checks coming soon. We did 4 out of the 5 aids. ATIS altimeter. Avionics are set. Actually, what we can do here, since now we're on heading and get vector, we can go ahead and just activate
135 Golf Delta contact Orlando approach now 124.
activate the leg to Ringy.
Orlando approach 124.8. Let's go south. Thank you.
Cool. Don't need the rest of our flight plan. We can activate the leg. I'm not going to activate the approach. I activate the leg. Oops. Good. This is nice too. The Navigraph geo-referenced plates. Also too, and we're still at 4,000 feet, so we're probably going to get a descent pretty soon. Start to descend, we'll just pull the power back to real Arrow. It's about 2,000 feet, or 2,000, 220 inches of manifold pressure. Give a descent rate of 100 feet. Good. That's really, really realistic. In and out of the clouds with the scenery is just... I don't own Microsoft Flight Simulator. I've seen streams of it, but I don't know. This is really good. Sitting here in VR, this is really realistic.
How long have we got till we've got 15 miles to the Ringy?
50 miles exactly. We did
Okay.
descent pretty soon because gonna want to sit.
So,
Go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was just saying, just a quick question to those with us. So I posted the link to our giveaway form a couple of times. I just want to check you guys are able to open it for any of you who want to enter for either of the products being given away. Do make sure you've got your entries in before the end of the stream, because that's when we close it. And also, actually, while I'm thinking about that, I'll post a link as well. So yes, we have done a merch store as well, because, well, who wouldn't want to wear a vFlyteair t-shirt?
Ooh, I do.
So yeah, we've done all sorts on there. It was great fun. We've tried to, obviously, the company who do the merch themselves obviously have their sort of set price, and then we can choose a margin on top of it. And I've tried to make that as low as possible, because we just want to get the stuff out there. It's we'll make a couple of dollars on it, but we're not sort of gonna shave you guys for every penny you got for the sake of a vFlyteair mug. I mean, even if it makes you the envy of all the aviation buddies. But yeah, that's out there now as well. So we'll get a link on the I'll repost the link in the forum for anybody who misses it, or we're going to get it added to the YouTube channel. So again, this is early days for us with the YouTube stuff. We wanted to just make a start, as random and as terrible as it might be, but. Okay, I just posted the link in the live chat, so that's interesting. I wonder if it's hiding links then or something.
I don't think you can post links, in the chat.
That might be where the problem is.
Yeah, I think it's a YouTube thing.
Okay, that would explain it. Okay, so I have just, that's fine. What I'm going to do then is I'm just going to go in on the, on the vFlyteair forum on xplane.org. If you get through to the commercial vendor support and then find vFlyteair, you'll find a post which is Piper Arrow V6 live stream launch event. And what I'll do is I'll post the giveaway link there, which I kind of wanted to avoid doing because I wanted to try and make sure it was only you guys on the. Actually on the live stream. That's irritating. I wonder how I can do that. That I wasn't expecting. Having actually tested the form as well and made sure I could actually click it through, a browser I wasn't logged into my Google account with, to make sure that it actually worked.
Don't post it as a link. Maybe just remove the HTTP and tell everybody on the chat to you got to replace this.
HTTP, yeah, that's a good idea. Let me just get it. That's not a bad idea.
I have one every once in a while, Rich.
Well, I've been working in IT for 25 years. You'd think that you'd hope I came up with it. Right. Okay. Can you guys see that one? Obviously, under HTTPS back at the end, on the front of it.
2000 Tolls Row 2 Romeo. Thanks. All right. Sorry, we just got our descent.
No, that's fine.
Vertical speed.
Well, Vincent, I don't blame you because the True Earth stuff is pretty cracking. We're just hoping that they'll do some more of America. That'd be nice because I think Deelee would certainly like his home area done on True Earth, wouldn't you?
Awesome. DC. I'm in the Washington DC area, so descent. I pulled power back to about 20 inches. The heading bug is synced. Actually, well, we're on a heading path. Yeah, this is pretty cool. I'm looking at just True Earth as I'm kind of breaking out, kind of surfing the bottom of this layer. I mean, that is real. That is realistic. All right, 3,500. Down to 2. Oh, I can't wait to watch this stream back, actually. I mean, this is really cool. And Rich, you'll see it in about 5 seconds after the just breaking out.
Well, no, because remember, I've got you that I'm on the live, so.
Oh, you can see the Discord. Yeah,
I can see it.
Back in IMC, and all right, IMC heads back in the panel. Sorry for the head movement here. Just, I know it's kind of just not as smooth in VR on the screen, but I've got to look at the instrument. IMC, so yeah, there we go. That is so cool.
631 Bravo Whiskey, Tampa departure, radar contact, proceed on course, maintain VFR, Takeoff, 3002.
So let's see what we have here. 29012, gusting 18. Yeah, that'll be fun. It's sporting. Ooh.
631 Bravo Whiskey, traffic 12 o'clock, 2 miles, turning east-northeast, spinning now, main 320, level at 3000.
Recording. Handle it.
I'm sure you can.
Going to
3 Bravo Whiskey, Roger.
yeah, I need to pay attention now. Sorry, Rich. We're going to get some turns here back into the panel. Good too. It's going to put us. We're going to Dolphin Aviation. It's right here. That's perfect. I don't think we'll be able to roll it out the whole way. That's cool. We're going to get a turn here.
Zero 2 Romeo, flighting 260.
260, 02 Romeo. Very cool. Past approach. Clear video. Got our diamonds coming in. Fell way below glide slope, which is great. I'll leave the power at 20 inches of pressure at this point. We can enrich in the mixture a little bit. Lean. Cloudy. So
Zero 2 Romeo, you're about 7 miles from Ringy, flighting 300. Maintain 2000. Still established on localizer. Clear to LS runway 32 approach.
right turn 300. Maintain 2000 until established. Clear to ILS 32 approach. Closer to Romeo. Cool. Go ahead and arm the approach. Very nice. We're well within gear extension speed here. Drop the gear under 150 miles an hour on the Arrow. Kind of a little bit, cover.
Number 125 Alpha Hotel, Lakewood altimeter 30 direct.
Yeah, so I've just been reading up on this. It does look like it turns links into, it filters links posted in the live chat, which is really annoying. And I even took off the HTTPS and it was too clever and it knew. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna have to kind of
Slow us down a little bit here. Go fuel pump on. By the way, fuel, look at that, perfectly balanced in gallons per side. Fuel pump comes on, landing light is on, beacons on, mixture's full rich. We'll go prop full forward in a minute. Here will come down port of the BAF. Alright. Approach checks, official. Good.
Deelee, are you able to edit the description for the YouTube stream?
I can, not right now.
No, that's fine. I was just thinking once we're on the ground.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, don't do it now. I just meant right once we're on the ground, maybe we
I
can.
absolutely can. I can do that. All right, let's see.
It's not going to let me post it.
Oh, we can land this completely visual at this point. Get my head angle right here for landing, and now is when it gets fun. All right, localizer's coming in. I can see the dot. Sorry about all the moving around of the. Okay. Localizer's coming in. Looking good. Let me just 90. A little bit of a crosswind. Bad. 9, match that up with course. Back. Good. Glide slopes coming in. You're down. You're down. 1, 2, 3 green. I can feel it in my feet. Thunk, thunk, thunk.
Number 1202, Romeo, wind 330 at 13, runway 32, clear to land.
Clear land 32, 1202 Romeo. Flap range 2, first flaps. Plunk, prop, pull forward. Now we don't even worry about gumps. We go red, blue, green, red, forward, blue, forward, 3 green, clear to land, all good. Let's go. Slow down to 100 miles an hour on final.
So would you normally do that with power setting, or do you just, have you got a rough guide that you sort of aim for on power? And
I
power
go about
settings?
15 inches of manifold pressure with gear down, flaps 1, gives me about 100 miles an hour, 500 feet. But
I
this
think
is
15 is the bottom, isn't it? So what do you
Yeah,
normally be on?
I'm looking at the
2300?
manifold. I'm looking at 15 inches. I'm not looking at the RPMs. And then this is a different Arrow too, so I'm flying this
Yeah,
kind
'cause
of
I
like my. Yeah. So there's 100 miles an hour. That's good final speed from the FAC or from the FAF.
November 658, Sierra.
That's 14 inches. That's pretty good. That's pretty right on. You gotta remember this Arrow. The wing is a lot different than my Arrow. Mine, you need a little more power. And you need power on, actually, when you land. I don't land with 0 power in the Hershey Bar 1969 Arrow. I land with a little bit of power on. You can't just chop and drop. It'll drop through ground effect. You'll stall it. Now, you'll really test the you'll test the landing gear. I don't like to do. So, but this airplane will float a little bit, not like a 172, but it'll float. So there's 100 miles an hour. It's about 15 inches. That's right on.
Sorry, I thought we put in 15.
That 100 miles an hour, 15 inches. I'm a little neurotic about it, so I'm doing red, blue, green a lot. I'm doing red, blue, green, extra green. Always checking that this is.
I'm always checking it.
This is the important one. We're still 4 miles, so we can go flat 2 and slow to 90 miles an hour here in a little bit. A little bit of a crosswind. We'll hold the crab. Got the rabbit in sight. Look at this ORBX. Oh my gosh. Look at that. That's realistic. I mean,
It's definitely sharper than the Fort Boy stuff when you get closer to the ground.
It's incredibly realistic. I mean, this is, can't get more realistic. Microsoft Flight Simulator's got nothing on it. Just look.
9 year firm fly, maintain 12,000.
Flat 2. There's the float. Trim. Oh, that's alright. We got it. And flying it. I hit the trim. My airplane. Now's when it gets fun, Rich.
I have complete confidence in you.
That's the first mistake. Red, blue, green.
Well, the FAA have confidence in you, so...
Yeah, how about that? That's why we don't give our
Gosh,
real
that-
names on stream. 90 knots. Or 90 miles an hour, keeping it down. 2 whites, 2 reds. This is so realistic. Awesome. I'm going to keep the crab for a while so I don't irritate the 2 people we might have in the back there. Slipping it in is very irritating for passengers, by the way, folks. It is that cross-controlled feeling where people don't like it.
Yeah, I've always preferred that option. My instructor always gave me 2 options. He said either crab it in or start over on the windward side and just sort of roughly let it blow you in to line up just as you're touching down.
I will
a bit easier.
I'll kick the crab out, obviously, and maintain, I'll get the longitudinal axis aligned eventually, but I'm not, I have 0 rudder input right now.
That's also, of course, really important in the Arrow because, of course, the nose wheel is linked to the rudder pedals, so if you don't get your feet off the rudder before you touch down, and that was one of the things that's caused quite a lot of people in the past to sort of go skidding around on touchdown, and we're kind of like, actually, that is how it will work. You've got to be feet off as you touch down.
Look at this crab. We got a nice crosswind. This is sporting. All right. If I was flying this in real life, I'd be paying a lot of, no, always paying attention, FAA.
We
But I would
believe
be
you.
paying a little bit of attention to this marker. All right, slowing it down. We can get the runway. We'll go
658 Sierra Tampa approach.
flaps 3. Trimming it down. Trying to land with as little energy as possible.
St. Petersburg now.
Trying to hit those markers. Now we're below glide slope. We got this.
It's looking
Grab
good.
out. Wing low.
Okay, 658 Sierra, that works. Just from there, go ahead and enter a left down runway 36 and report.
Such a long runway. Just gonna hold it off. Just hold it off. Looking down the end of the
This
runway
is
now.
the warrior wing. Isn't
Holding
it?
it off. Holding it off. Still holding it off. We're floating. We're floating. Here's the stall warner. Here we go.
5 Alpha Delta.
That is.
Yes, we'd actually like to change our destination over to...
We touched down right when the stall warner kicked in.
5 Alpha Hotel
So,
Roger, in that case.
you were saying as well for slowing down on the runway, get the
By the way,
flaps up,
radar service
and
terminates
then
squawk,
just pull
maintain
back down
VFR,
in the
go ahead
yoke as
and
well,
call
just to
Lakeland
let it
Tower
sort of
124.5.
naturally brake.
Yep. Actually, we're a little bit of arrow braking, just pulling back a little bit. Vacate.
Which
Here.
is one of the features you suggested and we incorporated.
That's a run. Let's vacate that. Yes, and dumping the flaps. Mixture's going to come a little bit lean for ground operations. Turn the fuel pump. Nobody here. Let's keep rolling.
Weather 1126, proceed direct pricing.
Direct pricing.
Hey guys, so I've pulled apart
Weather
the entry
1126, climb maintain 3.
So it is forms.gle / and then that big string. If you can get that into your browser, hopefully that'll work. Let me know if you can see that. Because I can see everything that I've posted and it doesn't tell me whether I did or not. So whether it's visible to you guys or not.
You'd be having a fit. Did this in real life, but nobody here, so.
Number 658 Sierra 1320
Well, yeah, Kev, unfortunately, Dee's got the advantage of making it look easy because he's got a real one and he gets to take it up. Well, I don't know, how often do you sort of get out in the real one?
Once a week, if I can. Right now it's an annual, so hopefully soon.
Yeah, it depends if those parts come from like
Boy, that word at control
Number
report.
631 Bravo Whiskey Radar service
We
terminates
work through
squawk,
everything.
maintain VFR frequency change
Ah,
approved.
see,
Captain
smooth.
Blake
I'm gonna
Sky
beg for forgiveness here.
124.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna let him know. Give me a phone number. Yeah, but approach Arrow 2. Sorry, Arrow 1202 Romeo is vacated 3-2 here at where are we? Alpha 4. Sarasota.
Number 102 Romeo, I'm sorry, where'd you say you're parking?
Yeah, over here at Dolphin Aviation. And, you can give me a phone number. We actually blew. Wait, 1202.
No worries. Taxi the ramp across runway 22.
Cross 2-2 to the ramp. 1202 Romeo. Thanks for the ATC today. Awesome.
Tip.
Cool. All right, so let's see. Let's go park. Wow, busy. I think these are static aircraft. They must be, right?
Yeah,
must be
they're
a-
all the same.
Yeah, they're all 172s. What is this? A flight school? Come on.
You've
Yeah,
got
look at
the what's that free add-on that does all the nice concrete textures and stuff at the airports?
I do. I have Airport Environment HD. But you know what? I have
Oh,
only the textures. There's a plugin also that I actually turn off. I don't know what the plugin. Oh, I think it does stuff with the night lighting, and it was giving me just horrible stutters at night. So I turned it off.
Really?
Yeah. Dolphin even. I don't know.
I do like the airport environment HD.
Number
though,
658 Sierra, welcome to
the
Clearwater
taxiway
left
markings
enable
and
taxi
and
at the Alpha.
the signs and like having the concrete on the ground here and so on. And of course, even if you've got the preloaded airports in X-Plane, it will improve how they look, and it's a free download, so it's definitely worth.
Driver 1126, traffic 12 o'clock,
Highly
7
recommend it.
miles northbound.
Exactly
Aircraft
right. This is
type
a
indicates 2000.
default Sarasota Airport. I did nothing to it. We'll just park it here. I think this is
Driver
FBO.
1126, additional traffic is 1
Maybe they'll
to
put
2
it in this
o'clock,
nice big
about
hangar
8
for us.
miles southwestbound.
Just checking. You guys just say yay or nay if you're able to see the
1500.
link to the form that I posted.
Cloud layer here in front of us. We've got them on.
Just want to make sure I get that out to you guys because, well, we've got free stuff and I want to give it to somebody.
Shut down is Avionics off. Mixture idle cutoff. Master off. Mags off. That's it. Rich, we're down. Tell you what, let me do one thing. Let me pop over back on my desk, and I don't know if you guys want to look at the. Maybe we'll do a quick replay in 2D of the landing and see how that went.
Yeah, do you want to get yourself out of VR?
Yeah,
and,
let me do that. Do that real quick.
Oh, fabs. So thanks, Douglas, for letting me know. That's great. Yeah, I mean, you've got to put it back together. So you've got to do forms.gle. It's not .google, so it's .gle / and it's https / on the. So I'm going to do that from the start. So https / forms.gle / and then paste in the ISVXXY blah 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 code on the end of that, and then that should work. So yeah, so actually that's gone reasonably well. The link's probably the worst one that sort of caught me off guard because I kind of assumed I'd just be able to paste that in. So apologies to you all for doing that. Thanks for your patience with that. Yeah, so Kev, the key to that generally is about descending at the right point. And that again is just practice and trying to standardize everything as much as possible. And the more you do it, the more you'll start to get it. But you should be able to be. I find that on the descent, I can be about 15 inches of manifold pressure and 2300 RPM. But you should be descending at that point, and therefore you're not going to have any worries about stalling. Bearing in mind, obviously, when Deelee dropped it to 15 inches, he was already descending by then. So yeah, if you're trying to hold it level, I found that about 17 inches with full prop seems to work quite well. Yeah, thank you, Bill. Thanks for your words. That's appreciated. Yeah, as I said, I mean, we wanted to start somewhere. We knew it would be a bit rough and ready, but we just wanted to sort of start to make an effort to get some videos out there to show you guys what you could do with the products, to sort of get your feedback and feelings about it. And the Arrow seemed like a great place to start doing that. So it's been really nice to use that one to start off with. So yeah.
Sorry. Hey, can you hear me? Just real quick.
Yeah, I got you.
Excellent.
Hey.
Okay, no, carry on. Sorry, just the switching between stuff is kind of wonky. So cool. All right, carry on.
Awesome. No, I can see some responses coming in on the giveaway form now. So that's great, guys. I'm glad you're managing to get onto that.
Want to check the replay here?
Yeah, let's have a look.
Maybe. I don't know if I want to see it.
Time while wait. Yeah, maybe just replay the landing. It'd be interesting to see.
No, it's a disconnect. That'll disconnect me anyway from Vatsim. Cool that we had Vatsim, by the way. That was a bonus. They had an event today that corresponded with our stream. Let's see.
Is that a regular? I hadn't noticed that one before. So
it's not a regular event. It was kind of a. Turn the volume down on the stream because this could get. Let's see. There's the crab. ORBX scenery looking good. Yeah, looking pretty good here.
And actually, that windsong's straight down the beat as well, so that's quite nice.
Yeah. It's a little crosswind aloft. Yeah, a little bit of
actually, isn't it?
Misbehaving there. There's a float. Oh, see, this is where my
There it is.
my arrow will not float like that. Now we're holding it off. We're holding it off. Oh, that's well, you didn't see that.
There it goes. So there you go, folks. Anytime you have a bad landing day, don't worry, because the real world guys have them too, and you're not as far off as you think.
I'll tell you, the Arrow 1 will not do that. The 69 Arrow will fall through that all day long. But anyway, yeah. All right,
It took
Rich.
me a long time to adjust to flying the Cherokee 140 because that's got the Hershey wing, and I was so used to flying Warriors and Archers that it took me a while to get my head around that one.
Yeah.
So coming back, I find the Arrow easier because it's more what I'm used to. The Arrow 3 at least.
It lands more like a Cessna than it does the Hershey bar. I'll tell you, it doesn't float like that. Anyway, we got it down. Everybody's okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll take it away, man. I hop on mute here unless anybody else has questions.
Yeah, as I say, if anybody's got any questions they'd like to ask Deelee or myself, if you've got any ideas for things you'd like to see in content, one of the things I was thinking about doing was doing a bit of a walkthrough of the G5s, because obviously they're quite new, and just show you how to sort of get around some of the features with the nice sort of visual video, and just point out some of the bits. I mean, to be honest, the G5 manual from Garmin will show you most of what it's to do anyway, and particularly once we've done the feature update and sort of caught up with some of the missing bits, then obviously that will be about as close to the real thing as you can get. But I thought the video might be quite nice to show off some of those. But if you've got any other ideas, chuck them in the live chat. We'll be happy to take them on board and consider them for another video. If there's somewhere you'd like us to fly, a challenging approach that we can put Deelee to the test with.
Hey, come on. I'm kidding. Let's do it. That'd be fun. Yeah, let's do this again. This was fun. Definitely.
So yeah, it's good to see that some of the we've got some response in. Yeah, thanks, Kev. Yeah, I'm one thing I'm good for is waffling. So while Deelee's getting all the important technical stuff done, I'll just fill for silence. That's my purpose here. So yeah, thanks all for coming along for the stream. So we've got some responses on the giveaway. So I because obviously we're a bit late in that sorted. I'm gonna leave it open for a little bit longer. So we'll get in touch with the winners for those individually afterwards. Just to leave a bit more time for others to come along and have a chance to enter. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. As I said, it's kind of a first, hopefully, of many. I don't know how often we'll get to do these, but we'll see what sort of fits with our lives and so on, and trying to make sure we still get some good products out to you. And yeah, we're certainly, if you have any other thoughts for content, drop it in on the vFlyteair forum, or PM me through the through the vFlyteair, through the X-Plane forum, or PM me through there, and let us know. So, Mr. Hyde, yeah, thanks. If you want some masterclasses on landing the Arrow 3, we can set up some videos for that. Maybe even I can have a go at that. I'm getting pretty good on the landings in the Arrow now. So, and I'm used to that good old Warrior wing, which poor old Deelee's got the old Hershey bar to try and transition over from.
So true. I mean, no excuses, but yeah, that is the reason, not excuse. But anyway, that was good. It's fun.
But that's the thing, isn't it? You do get used to a particular aircraft, don't you, when you've been flying it a lot?
You do, and it's pitch power equals performance, and you're used to a certain pitch and power setting and performance result, and that's what happens when try to apply the same thing in an aircraft that has a but anyway, yeah, it's good.
That's kind of good. That means you're getting familiar with the plane you fly regularly, and it's becoming second nature, and that's a good place to be, right?
It's true. And just anybody else left on the stream, I mean, that is the Arrow 3, the vFlyteair Arrow 3 flight model is bang on. That landing had no bearing on the vFlyteair Arrow. That was pilot error. So anyway.
So just to round up then, give us 3 things that you really like about being able to own and have regular access to a real plane.
Oh, yeah, 3 things. Yeah, number 1, I mean, just being able to go to the hangar and fly is number 1. You don't have to worry about renting. You don't have to worry about scheduling. I have one partner in the Arrow, and he and I, we just our schedules work out. We don't have like a written schedule. We just sort of text each other, and then hey, you using the plane? Nope. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go fly. Okay, cool. Go fly. We have never had a conflict, which is uncanny. So that's 1, just the ability to go and fly. 2 is kind of a pride in ownership. I think it's kind of cool, and I'm just kind of proud to be able to say that look, I own and operate this plane. We take really good care of it. My partner and I, we baby it. Just a lot of pride, ownership.
That's going to be a big difference to a rental, I guess.
It's so different. You guys that
particularly
rent,
if it's being trained in and stuff.
I was doing my private, I was renting, and I personally, I always treated the plane like it was my own. I never smashed it. Well, all right, during private, I smashed it down, not on purpose. Didn't jam on the
Everybody
brakes. I've seen renters, just hammer the brakes when they land, ride the brakes. They don't know what that red lever is for. Never lean. It's like, oh my gosh, and no wonder these planes are always down for maintenance, changing plugs and fouled spark plugs, stuff like that. So yeah, it's so different. You baby it. You hold the nose wheel off, and honestly, no excuses, but that float was me holding off that landing as absolutely long as possible and landing with as little energy as possible, because I want to baby the mains. Those oleo struts on the Arrow are really stout, but I don't want to smash it down, and I'm going to hold it off even when I'm on the ground. I'm holding that nose wheel off as long as possible, babying that thing. So yeah, that's 2, just pride of ownership. And number 3, I don't know if there's number 1 and 2 kind of cover, I think, all of it.
Yeah.
3 is when you start to get into the downsides of owning, like right now, like our airplane's in annual inspection time, and when you.
So before you hit that one, that was what I was gonna hit next to. Is give me 2 or 3 things that are better about owning a sim plane.
Oh, geez. Okay, well, all the cons that are that are there for owning a real plane. You can you can have a hard landing and not worry about jamming the struts up through the wing. You can fly in conditions that you would never fly in real life. You can let's see. Well, I mean, okay.
Own avionics that no human being can
what does avgas cost? So avgas. So where did we go? We went from we landed and went to Dolphin Aviation at Sarasota. I think gas at Dolphin Aviation in Sarasota, Florida, costs, I think it's $8 a gallon. So no costs. Now the list goes on and on. So.
Yeah, I think we're about,
Stephen Hale,
16
hold on.
gallons we burned to go from.
Look at the chat right now. Almost a tail strike on landing. Stephen Hayes, come on. Really?
That's what the little bit of the back's for,
Come on.
It did, yeah. There was a little bit of a flare there.
It was a flare, yeah. True. But again, trying to hold it off. Let's see. What's the strike? Hold on. Let's see.
There's the pride bit kicking in.
Yeah.
It was close.
It was pretty.
I will agree with Stephen. I noticed that.
Yeah.
There's the flow, and then it drops in.
Let's see. Did we get it?
And wait for it.
Did we get the hook?
Nope.
No. That was fine. Close.
Awesome.
Yeah, this thing
well,
right
that's
here.
A great place.
You see a lot of trainers with the edge of this scraped up. Anyway, cool.
So there we go. So I think that's a good place to finish for tonight. That's probably gone a little bit longer than we planned. So thanks everybody for hanging around with us for it. That's really great. And we'll look forward to see you next time. Thank you, Deelee, for flying for this evening. Maybe we'll swap over and I'll fly next time, and you can banter. You probably do a better job than I would.
Be my pleasure. Nah, you did a great job. This was fun. We'll do it again.
Excellent. Till next time. So thanks for joining us, everybody, and yeah, keep telling us what you'd like to see vFlyteair do next. And good night, or good afternoon if you happen to be elsewhere.